Hey, do you like multiplication?
Maybe. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's cool. I like math.
Cool.
Hey guys, this is Mr. Ng. Let's go over your quiz number 8. This is version A. Using the letters in question number 2, so using these, match the following by putting one letter per line. So which one is intercept or factored form? This word we haven't really used much, intercept form, but you see the word factored form. Factored, you should think of two sets of parentheses, and the only choice for that one is E. Now, why do they also call it intercept form? That's also called x-intercept form. Okay, so that would actually match something like that. Okay, number 2, match the following by putting one letter underneath the graph. So I have a graph here, and I did put 2 dots, and they're on the x-intercepts themselves, so that would be choice E. This one is pointing down, so not that one. This is also down. This is the only one that's pointing up because your A value is 1. So this is up. And you have a y-intercept of -1, your C value. So that would be down there. That's why it's not this one. If you were using these, I would convert it to the plus sign to be minus minus. And then write vertex form. So then you can identify that my vertex is -4, -2. Left 4, down 2. And that graph is pointing down, but that's how you can help designate those. Number 3, use the square root property to find one solution. So from here, I have a quadratic trinomial that's in standard form, and I can use my A, B, and C's, right? A is 1, B is 12, C is 36. A times C, so 1 times 36 is 36. My B value is 12. Two numbers that multiply are 36, and those same two numbers add to be 6. Remember, when your A value is 1, you don't need to use the box. I'll just show you really quickly if you did. I'm putting that as 6x and 6x. So x, x, 6, and 6. X plus 6 times x plus 6 equals 64. X plus 6 squared. X plus 6 quantity squared equals 64. To get rid of the power of 2, you take the square root of both sides. As soon as you do that, you must have a plus or minus. So I'm left with the power of 2 cancels, the radical sign is gone, you're left with x plus 6 equals plus or minus 8. Subtract 6. You'll get x equals -6 plus or minus 8. So that's -6 plus 8, which gives you 2, and -6 minus 8, which gives you -14. So what are these options? That would be choice A. Number 4, multiple choice. Use the given information, determine the most efficient form to use to write a quadratic function. Okay, so the first thing you should notice is that you have these two, which are x-intercepts. So that one, you would probably use the pink, changing color now. If you said B, then you got full credit. You only have to do one of those. Okay, now if you also do this one, 4 up 23. So I didn't measure 23, but I want you to notice that this is 3 and this is 3, so that means that this is the midpoint, which is called the axis of symmetry. Which means that this point, we can write an equation using vertex form. So if you did C, you also would have gotten correct. The only way you got 0 points is if you wrote the standard form. The standard form had to be 3 random points. Yeah, let's go to the back side. Okay, I read it to the class. A lot of students didn't do this directions even though I walked you through it. Make sure to show all your work and box your answers. Circle and complete one problem, okay? So I should have seen this circled up here, or number 6, okay? If you were like, if this was a student's paper, and they did both problems, then default it says, if you don't circle one, I'll choose one. Most of the time I graded just the top one, just because it was more convenient. Number 5. Convert the standard form, so I know it's in standard form because there's no parentheses, into vertex form, which means this one you should know that you should be using CTS. So let's do that first part first. Okay, and then later we'll talk about identifying. So part number 1, I'm going to complete the square. So CTS is b divided by 2. Your b value is -4, half of that is -2, and -2 squared is 4. Okay? Now with this 4, if you just got that correctly, I gave you 2 points. CTS is correct. Okay? You just wrote a 4 here. To apply it correctly, to get the 3 points, is that this sign has to be -4. Okay? Because if you add those together, again, that equals 0. Now for those who kind of made there an equation, and you put on the other side +4, that would have been correct, but then you would have to move it back over. Okay, so if you factor here in the yellow, using your x, then you would have gotten this as your answer. Put it together, you have x minus 2 squared. 7 minus 4 is 3. And then the second part says to identify the vertex as an ordered pair. Okay, so I'm going to put vertex form. A is 1, H is 2. Notice I did not get the subtraction sign here. Okay, so H is 2, and then your K value is 3. So that's how you would have gotten full credit. You would have gotten 3.75 if you had the vertex form here, but could not identify the ordered pair. Okay? So this is part 2, vertex and vertex form. Okay. Question number 6. Write the equation from the parabola below in standard form. Okay, so we're going to write an equation first. And a lot of you guys were very good. What I liked about what you guys did is from our packet, right? Is it factored, standard, or vertex form? Which one of these? Well, if you identify the parts that I have these. These are x-intercepts. And that would be factored form. Okay? The common mistake here for a lot of students was to pick vertex form. Vertex form is incorrect because this right here, this black dot I'm putting, that is the vertex. This 0, 6 is a point, but it is not the highest point. Okay? You could have been tempted to choose standard form, but I would not choose that, especially if they give you the x-intercepts. Okay, so factored form is this, and the first thing you're going to do is write down the form, and my p-value is -2, my q-value is +3. Okay, let's annotate it. P, notice I'm not highlighting the negative sign, is -2. And then q value of 3, q equals 3. And notice how I did not have the minus sign. Your x value is 0. Okay, and this one, remember you have to have x used twice. And then the y value is 6. You're solving for a. Opposite of -2, again, use your calculators. There's a lot of mistakes right here. So that's 2. 0 minus 3 is -3. You are multiplying. So that's -6. A. If you divide both sides by -6, do the step over here because I saw a lot of students miss this. a is -1. Okay, if you solve for a correctly, a is -1, you got a 3. If you got a is +1, I'll probably move you down to a 2. Okay, now that you have a is -1, put that there, your p-value, and then your q-value. Okay, so this is now in factored form. So I gave you 3.5 points if you got to factored form. But it says in standard form. So how do you get into standard form? You're going to have to multiply these. So I chose to multiply these first, follow our box method. You write them on the outsides, you multiply, and then you add. So x squared, that becomes -1x, -6. Then I distributed the -1. And this would be my answer in standard form.
That's all for today, Rebels. Have a mathematical Monday.